Welcome student. In last period we have revised information management once again. So we have seen information management, its services, what is file system, device driver. Today we are going to see memory management, process management in detail. In process management also we have seen here process management. We have to see in detail process management. Now, process management. What exactly process management? Process management portion of operating systems, process management service. So, process management is completely concerned with the management of processes. We know that computer system consists of only one CPU. This is the memory. Now, on the disk, lot of programs are there. Once a program is loaded from disk into the memory, it becomes the process. So, what is process? What is process? Once a program is loaded from disk into the memory, it becomes the process. Why? Because it competes for CPU's time. It wants to get executed. Such a number of processes can be loaded in memory. Say, process P1 is there, process P2 is also there, process P3 is there, and remaining memory is vacant. This is free memory. This is total memory. Now, here 3 processes are in memory, but only one processor is there. Now, process management will manage how to process it, how to schedule it. What exactly by schedule? Schedule stands for a timetable, or who will first, who will next, deciding that. So, process management will schedule the process. So, it will execute the process P1. So, this is called as a state of process. First, that is run state. What is called as a process in run state? When number of processes are in memory, either one process will be executing because only one processor is there. Remaining 2 processes are there, but CPU has not given its attention. These 2 processes are called as in ready state. Now what happens? Process P1 is in run state because it is being executed. Process P2 and P3 are there, they are ready, but CPU has not given its attention. It may also happen in P1, while executing the P1, there may be the I/O. What exactly mean by I/O? Input output. So, if input output instruction is encountered while executing the P1, input from input device to memory, that is called as DMA, direct memory access. DMA operation will start. So here is the processor, input device, output device and memory. P1 was currently being executed, but the IO is encountered, and due to the IO, input device to memory, DMA operation is running. So while DMA, processor become idle. Idle stand for no work. So instead of keeping the processor idle, we can schedule another process. So this process is temporarily stopped. That is called as block. So block stand for a process is blocked temporarily unless until DMA operation is over. So process in executing state currently running, that is process in run state. Remaining 2 processes are ready, but if process encounters an IO, it will be blocked. IO P1 become blocked, P2 will become run, and P3 is still in ready state because it is waiting. Okay, so process states. Now we have seen what we have seen. We have seen scheduling techniques. In last period we have seen, once again we will revise. Scheduling techniques. So there are two types of scheduling techniques. Number one, priority. Number two, time slice. So what is it by scheduling techniques? When number of processes are there in memory, process management has to decide how to execute all these processes. So there should be the priority. We have seen operating system will decide by its own who will get first priority. Sometimes operating system give the option to the user to set the priority, that is external priority, and purchase priority, that is who pay larger amount will get first priority. But some operating systems say that the priority instead of priority do not use any priority, it uses time slice. Some operating system do not use any priority, it uses time slice. Time slice stands for equal time to everyone. Say 3 processes are there, 2 minutes will be given here, after 2 minutes another process will be executed, this process. After completion of 2 minutes, this process will get executed. After 2 minutes completion, again P1. So this is called as a time slice. But what happens when 2 minutes is over, 2 minutes is consumed by P1, processor will turn attention from P1 to P2. After 2 minutes are over, processor will turn attention from P2 to P3. So there is some time lost, that is called as a context switching. So here will be context switching. Context switching, time lost in turning attention from one process to another process, that is called as a context switching. Okay, so these two techniques we have seen. There are some scheduling objectives also. Objectives. Now we have seen scheduling techniques, that is time slice or priority. Anyway, process management will manage all the processes. Where processor is only one, number of processes are there, the job of process management is difficult. We know it happens when only one person is there seated and giving the service, but lot of people, a long queue is there, definitely job is difficult. So way back there were single user operating system where only one process will get loaded in memory, that will be executed, that will be terminated, and next process is brought in memory. It means job of process management in single user uniprogramming operating system was quite simple, but the job of process management in multi-programming, when number of process will be more than one, is difficult. So at that time some techniques has to use. We know that how process management manages. So there are some objectives, that is fairness. What exactly is fairness? Fairness stands for being fair with all users. There should not be any kind of partiality. Fairness. Throughput. What is meant by throughput? Throughput stands for total productive work done by, put all together. Total productive work done put together by all users. No doubt, number of users, processes are there. It means processor will lose some time in turning attention from one process to another process. Suppose today you are having 3 jobs, that you have to go to the class, after then you have to go to somewhere for bringing the purchasing the notes from market. Similarly, you have to go to your friend's home for some work like giving the notes. Or what happens while doing all these 3 jobs? You may waste some time in traveling, going to class, coming to home, going to market, coming to home, going to friend's house, coming to home. So actual time you have spent on work, whereas how much completion of work is there? The throughput stand for total productive work done put together by all users. Whereas CPU utilization 3. CPU utilization. CPU utilization what? CPU utilization stands for how much time CPU has spent actual on execution and how much time it has spent on turning attention from one process to another process, as we have seen the example. Class was of 1 hour. Your friend's home, you have spent there 5 minutes. In the market, you have spent half hour. So 1 hour, half hour, 5 minutes, 135 minutes you have actually spent on your job. But suppose for that you require 3 hours. So 3 hours that was spent on traveling. Similarly in context switching. And 135 minutes you have actually done your work. That is CPU utilization. So in short, CPU utilization stand for how much exact time CPU has given for the processes, but not from turning attention from P1 to P2, P2 to P3. There is some time loss, that is called as context switching. So CPU utilization should be more. Also there is a turnaround time. A turnaround time stand for once the process is over, processor should quickly turn attention the diversion to another process. It will quickly divert attention. So turnaround time should be low. So such a number of philosophies there, single line philosophies are there. You will get the notes. Not only the notes are in simple language, but you will get it. So just you have to go through that notes. Definitely will get it. So scheduling objectives also there, and there are some philosophies also. Philosophies. What exactly are scheduling philosophies? There are two philosophies, that is primitive and non-primitive. Primitive philosophy, non-primitive philosophy. What exactly by primitive philosophy and non-primitive philosophy? Primitive, non-primitive. What exactly mean by primitive philosophy and non-primitive philosophy? In primitive philosophy, once the important job enter the system, process management or processor will divert its attention. Once the important process enters the system, processor will divert its attention to that important process, losing attention in other. Whereas in non-primitive philosophy, whatever the process enter into the system, process management will not divert its attention to that process unless until current running process is terminated. So in primitive philosophy, as important job enter the system, processor will divert its attention and will give the priority to execute that process. Whereas in non-primitive philosophy, unless until the job has consumed its full time slice or job is not terminated, it will not give the attention to any other process. So in primitive philosophy, context switching is more, whereas in non-primitive philosophy, context switching is less. So that we have to see, we have finished the process management. What we have seen in the process management, first of all we have seen what is in by process. What is in by process? Once the program is loaded from disk into the memory, it becomes the process. So there are three process states. As three processes was there, P1, P2, P3. First, this process is going to execute. That's why it is called as run state. Then ready state, log. Three states we have seen. We have seen scheduling techniques, that is time slice and priority. Apart from that, we have seen scheduling objectives, that is fairness, throughput, turnaround time, CPU time. Also we have seen scheduling philosophies, that is primitive and non-primitive. That finish the process management. Now next is memory management, that we will see. The notes will be given in PDF format. Thank you.